Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Speak the Language podcast. As y'all know, we love to bring in guests for this show that come from all different types of life. People that are interesting, people that y'all know, people that y'all will enjoy hearing from. So this week, we brought in our friend Hunter Renfroe, who's a fellow Mississippian and also plays baseball for the San Diego Padres. Hunter is a great guy. He loves to hunt, so it made for a great conversation that I think y'all enjoy. And lastly, I really hope you're enjoying this podcast. We have a lot of fun making it and putting it together, and y'all's support and feedback means everything to us. So really, if you have a topic you want us to cover, if you have a question you want us to answer, send us a Facebook message, send us an Instagram message. And if you want to do us a big favor, head on over to our page on iTunes, give us a rating, write us a review. It really does help. Enjoy the show. And we're rolling. So today we're here with Mr. Hunter Renfroe, and then Jordan's always here. He's
Hello.
not paying attention right now. He's on his phone. It's unprofessional, Jordan.
A Snapchat.
To who?
Got one.
Oh, all right. Well, Hunter took time out of his busy day to come in here, and you're over there Snapchatting.
I was just receiving.
So, Hunter, man, look, first, thanks for taking the time to come over here. Kind of like, I don't want to give your own personal background for you while you're sitting right here, so kind of tell everybody who you are, what you do, you know, a little bit about yourself, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm a Mississippi boy, born and raised from near south of Jackson, Crystal Springs.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Mississippi State, went to the College World Series. You know, we lost to UCLA. Got drafted in the first round by the San Diego Padres, and in 2013, and been with them ever since.
Yeah, just casually.
Dang, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't
Been a long time.
Well, it made me, when we figured out, you know, time to get you on here, like
Yeah.
it made me feel kind of old, because I was like, I didn't realize how long ago that was. I was at Mississippi State when you were playing there, the year y'all went to the College World Series. How that's been.
It was 2013. That's 6 years ago.
Yeah, that was a good year.
Yeah, yes, it was. We had a great time.
Yeah. Did you, how much, did you ever, hunt the refuge all while you were up there?
Almost every day.
Yeah. That's kind of, I think every male that attended Mississippi State University hunted that refuge.
What is this place?
What? I'm not going to say it. I mean, I'm not going to, spoon feed it, you know, it just kind of, but.
Oh, yeah, we made many trips up there, especially during turkey season.
Yeah.
And we got a little hunting camp up there we would usually get into, but we went up there all the time, and did a lot of bow fishing during baseball season. After school would ended, we still had baseball practice and stuff going on, so we usually go up there and bow fish at the lake and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
I never got into it. I never, bow fishing is like one of those fads I never really got into.
You need to try it.
It seems, I'm sure it's fun.
Oh
I
my
just
gosh.
never.
I'm sure right there on Cottonmouth, you have the little lakes and stuff.
Oh, look, when that water was dropping.
Oh.
We
just
just
when we
threw
were-
a cast net a couple weeks ago. We were over there and caught like 300 gar.
Yeah, I'm not lying. When we were over there planting and stuff, and Jimmy was gator hunting and all that, Michigas, there was over by those. My mind's going blank. I don't know. Whatever.
Beaver.
Sloughs.
Yes, there it is. That'll work. But I'm sure you could. There were gar everywhere.
You could sit there and have days worth of fun, I'm sure, shooting at them.
I think you could close your eyes and fire an
Yeah.
arrow and probably hit one. That'd probably be, yeah. So did you, grow up hunting?
Oh, yeah.
From the get-go?
Yeah, I remember my earliest memories, my dad, me being with my dad in a stand, and me being freezing to death, and he had a little dip can, and he would put some a little tinder bundle in there, and he'd light the fire, and I'd be warming my hands up and stuff like that in deer stand. But, and he used to take me to deer camp when he was, obviously younger, and I was a little bitty baby. He'd just throw me in the back of the truck while he was, cutting fields or whatever. But, I'm from probably a true-blooded redneck deer camp, little trailers in a hunting lease down south, and that's what we grew up doing. And if it was brown, it was down back then. If it didn't have spots, it wasn't worth anything. So we were shooting for meat, not necessarily for sport.
Pine row hunting.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's exactly the kind of environment I grew up in.
Yeah.
I can still remember, at my grandparents' house, Granddaddy and his other buddies, they'd pull up, it'd be a circle of pickups in the front yard, and they'd stand out there and they'd talk. Who's running the dogs today? And
Absolutely.
so-and-so was running their dogs this way, and I got, we got 2 does this morning. It was, back then, if you killed a buck, it was I killed a 14-inch 8-point.
Absolutely.
It was all
It was a giant, 14 inches.
It was all, everyone went by the inside spread.
Yep.
That was it. I remember the first time I heard someone say like 130 inches. I didn't even know what they were talking about.
Absolutely not.
They were like 100. I was like 100. Who?
How big is that?
Like you talking about the weight? Like what do you mean?
How wide was it?
How wide is this deer? So this is always a fun story for anybody. Like first deer you ever killed. Like what comes to your mind?
It was me and my dad. We were hunting. We actually borrowed a 7mm weight rifle, and we went to one of our good friends. Had a big, huge field, and it was just for pasture land for cows and stuff. And he had a little corner fenced off, and he had made a food plot right there. And he usually had a bunch of deer coming in there or whatever, and a bunch of deer, in those pine road plantations is 3 or 4. If you had 3 or 4 deer coming in there, it was a good hunt.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
And we had to sit in there, and all of a sudden a buttonhead buck, walked out about 40 or 50 yards out there, and Dad put the gun up there, and I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And he put the gun up there, and I got on it, and I pulled the trigger, and it fell right there, and I've been hooked ever since. and it's just been downhill for there for me as far as like money wise toward hunting.
Yeah. It's definitely a money spender for
Ain't
sure.
no doubt.
Yeah. I think everyone, especially down here, everyone I talk to down here, like when you ask someone like the first time you kill a deer, like they can paint that picture pretty much like it happened yesterday.
Absolutely.
It just gets like burned into your head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could do it, Jordan, if you had to.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about it while he was telling that story.
Tell it.
Honestly, I was 13, been trying to kill deer for about 5 years. I was really, really bad at it.
Must have been.
I went up to this little camp. Perry, Perry.
I know
they got some family land, and I got to sit on stand by myself that afternoon without my dad. So,
you were sitting with Bo?
No, I was by myself.
But before then, you were sitting with Bo.
I'd been hunting with Bo.
Well, that's why you weren't killing anything.
Exactly. I didn't want to say that.
If you'd ever met Jordan's dad, you'd understand. He's and he listens to this podcast, so he's gonna get.
Oh yeah. He claims he taught me everything I know, but whatever. Anyways, I was sitting there, and right before dark, here come this little buck coming up this lane. I didn't know what to do. He's coming right at me, so I shot him right in the throat. Fell over. I was just up there hooping and hollering and had a good old time.
Yeah. I think the first deer I ever killed, like, I can remember, like, in the hunter safety class, like when I had to take it when I was younger, they had like these little diagrams of deer, like good shot, marginal shot, don't take this shot. And there was like a deer facing dead away, and it was like terrible shot. Had a little mark on like an X over it, like don't take this shot. First deer I ever shot, me and my brother actually killed our first deer on the same day. Like a pile of does and some young ones came out. So biggest doe, Dad like kind of gets the gun, and Brett boom drops his doe, and all of them kind of scatter. There was one little button head like running around in circles. And Dad, man, and stops him. And I looked through the scope, and I remember all I could see was him facing dead away from me. And I think it was that class that don't shoot.
Texas 10 ring.
Oh, I did. I put it center. Boom. But then, I was young. I didn't. My dad had a real good time cleaning that deer because it, it killed him. Dropped him right there, but it went all up through the guts and stuff. But what about how'd you transition into bow hunting?
It was something I was always interested in, obviously growing up, and I think I was started really getting interested when I was probably 11 or 12, and that's kind of started when all the videos and stuff started coming up on like DirecTV and the Outdoor Channel and that kind of deal, and I started watching it, and I always was very interested in shooting bows and arrows. I went from a young age, having the little Brave bow they used to buy like Bass Pro Shop and stuff in the recurve, and I always loved going outside and just shooting that at birds and whatever. But and I started getting interested in it, then watching TV on Outdoor Channel and thinking it would be fun, and so I got my very first bow, and I got pretty adequate with it, shooting the target and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got it, and it was probably I think it was a little Hoyt, shot maybe 40 or 50 pounds, and it literally took me 3 years to finally kill my first deer with the bow, and I actually upgraded from that bow to another Hoyt and a little heavier poundage and stuff like that. And I was actually, think it was 15 or 16 years old when I first killed my first deer with a bow. And it was actually after football practice one day, and it was opening day of bow season. I remember like it was yesterday. It was October 1st, and I just left football practice, didn't take a shower, did nothing but go home, put on camouflage, and go sit right behind my mom and dad's house on this little ridge. I'd put a little lean-to stand up, and I was sitting there. Probably wasn't there in 45 minutes or so, and I kind of hear something start walking down the ridge, and I look up. I was like, this is going to be my dog walking down the ridge. And that I'd walk down and scream my hunt up, and I looked over there, and it's a bachelor group of bucks.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of cool. Like I've never seen this before in my life. And of course, I didn't think about checking the wind or nothing back then. I probably smelled like crap because of the football practice and stuff, but I didn't care. I was going to sit behind the house. And these bucks started walking right down the hill and coming straight toward me. And as they get closer, I'm getting more and more excited. Like, this is going to happen. Like, oh, my gosh, And they get closer and closer and closer. And eventually they literally walk underneath my steps in my stand and, like, 3 yards and walk right past me. And there was 3 of them. The first one was the biggest one. The middle one's like a little 4-point. And the last one was a 7-point. And I literally couldn't draw back because they were all 5 yards from me, walked past me. And finally, the last one got past me. I drew back, and I was in the heat of the moment. I was so excited. I don't even think I looked at my peep sight. It was literally like 15 yards and kind of quartered away perfect. And I put it on my thought, and I shot, and it ran off. And I texted my mom and dad. I was like, you need to come back and help me find this deer. I just shot the buck, and it literally ran like probably 30 or 40 yards, and it only ran that far because I shot it right in the throat. And I cut his jugular. Because that's when I was like, I promise you I was not aiming right there. So I don't think I looked at the sight.
Yeah.
So it was from then on, though, I was completely hooked. And from that moment on, that's all I wanted to do was shoot a deer with a bow.
Hey, Jordan, are you tired of hunting in a ground blind and not being able to see what's going on?
No, because I've been hunting in a surround view.
See, how many times have you heard crunching in the leaves? You think it's a big buck, but it turns out to be a squirrel or something.
Possums usually.
Or maybe a chupacabra. Or a wild hog.
Yeah.
Well, with Primos surround view blind, you will not have that issue.
No doubt. And you turn around and see squirrels chewing on corn cobs, whatever you want to see behind you.
You can see if your cousin Cletus is sneaking in on your spot.
Let me tell you something else about your surround view that I prefer and why I love to use them.
Let me hear it.
You can take a dog with you. You can take your girlfriend with you. You can take your dad with you that makes a lot of noise.
We're talking about sports utility vehicle type space in this thing.
Yeah, you can sit when it's mist and rain and don't get wet.
I think I even heard of somebody holding a whole family reunion inside of a surround view blind.
No doubt. They're worth their weight in gold.
So I think it would be smart if we told our listeners to head on over to primos.com and order themselves a surround view blind. What do you think?
I got a song just for it.
Let's hear it.
Head on over to primos.com, get your surround view.
Wow, Jordan, you are truly the songbird of this generation.
I still do that sometimes, not look through the peep.
Yeah, just to get too excited. I was like,
I can remember times like if I've made a bad shot or something. I've made bad shots since then, but I can remember my dad be like, "Where'd you shoot him at?" I'd be like, "I don't know."
In the brown part.
Where were you aiming? I don't know that either. I just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Just go, whoo.
It was on him. I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I just kind of, flung it and hoped it hit. Sometimes it worked out. Most often not.
Yeah.
Those are the good old days, Like back then you didn't, like these days I feel like I've learned too much. Like to the point of like back then you didn't worry about as much about like you spend as much time, like how much time before elk season this year, Jordan, did we spend like messing around with our arrows at the bow range?
Started in July.
Like you start about, and it makes
June,
makes you better essentially. But like back then, you were so young, like you didn't have a concept of all the things that could go wrong.
I don't know.
So you just kind of went with it,
Yeah, we started paper tuning bows and stuff in June, just trying to get everything perfect.
I remember the first time someone like told me what a paper tune was. Like someone said paper, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. Like shoot, it hits the target, I'm good.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't matter if it's going
maybe
sideways.
going sideways. So you go sideways or not.
Man, so like, tell me this, like I can, from talking to you what little bit we have, and then I've had a mutual friend Kevin Smith on here before. Like I know the schedule of a Major League Baseball player is pretty hectic. Would that be safe to say?
Absolutely.
So how much time do you get? Like how much hunting do you not get to do now? Because like, how much has it cut out because of all the baseball schedule?
I mean, obviously, since 2013, my junior year in college, I've literally haven't stepped in the turkey woods. You know, that's a huge thing for me. Is I was a huge turkey hunter. I love turkey hunting, and being from down south of Jackson, Mississippi, we're a huge turkey place down there.
Yeah.
And I had probably one of the best turkey hunting places I've ever seen in my short life thus far that we used to hunt. And, it was nothing to go sit in there and hear 20 or 30 birds sound off at any given morning. But had not been able to go turkey hunting. And, yeah. Yeah.
Well, since you can't turkey hunt it anymore, you know that.
Hey, they opened a fall season now. I don't know if you knew that. So that's
somebody's got to keep the population down, honey.
You got to keep the ratio correct.
That's right.
If you don't, yeah.
And but anyway, I hadn't been able to turkey hunt since 2013, so that's really kind of put a damper on me. But
yeah, that would break my heart.
Yeah, but it just so seems that baseball season happens in around October 1st every year, so I don't miss too much deer hunting. But I would love to, obviously, on one of my bucket list things is go elk hunting. So hopefully 1 year after maybe retire or something, I'll be able to go do something in September up there out west.
Well, you can find places to hunt, first couple weeks in October that's still ruddy.
It is, but it's I don't know. New Mexico, it's always been a place I want to go and do that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's something special, that's for sure.
I ain't no doubt.
Yeah, like what was it? You started some story, and I kind of cut you off because I wanted you to save it when we were doing this. You're telling us you weren't in America. I don't know if you were playing minor league ball or what.
So it was in I guess it was in 2013. That was right after I got drafted, and usually as soon as people get drafted, they go to instructional league that winter. So what that is you go through your first little piece of minor league baseball, and you get selected to go to the fall league, not fall league, but instructional league. And all you do is go out there and practice baseball for the months of October and November. And it's just basically practicing against each other. You're playing against some teams, and just kind of getting better at baseball, learning kind of the ins and outs of minor league baseball, and getting ready to go to the major league career. But
right,
that so happened to have that year that we our spring training facility was under renovation. So whatever you want to call it, it was in Dominican Republic.
Right.
So in our complex in Dominican Republic. So they happened to tell us that at the end of I think it was August. They told us, like, hey, you're selected to go to the extended to the Dominican Republic, and you're going to go down there for a few weeks and basically just get better. I was like, okay, that sounds great. And what I didn't know was that it's going to be for about 6 weeks worth.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
You're there.
There's there.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing of Dominican Republic except for the guys that I met from there, and obviously they're great people and love them to death. So I was like, I'm kind of for it. Let's go. And but the thing I didn't realize was there's no TV, there's like no internet service, so you couldn't call your mom or dad, you couldn't call your girlfriend, and you're kind of just stuck there. And so we were literally just stuck in this complex from like the end of October to the middle of November.
Gracious. And
we had a beach that we could go to, and it was probably like a mile down the road that you have to walk to.
Right.
Because like literally these places that they have in Dominican Republic are like compounds. They're literally like gated, so that you come in a huge gate that they have security officers there.
Yeah.
And they had all the way around them are huge like fences, and it's like a compound. Like it's a beautiful place. Like it's like a resort. But and it's for baseball, and they have huge, beautiful fields, complex, and facilities. And anyway, so you walk a mile down the road, and it's like in the middle of the jungle too. By the way, like I'm not kidding you. I'll show you pictures later, but it's literally this beautiful compound in the middle of a jungle,
right,
on top of a cliff.
Yeah.
And you walk down the road, it's kind of down this cliff, and you come to this beautiful beach. There's a little like cabanas and places that had fried chicken. They call pollo.
Pollo, yeah.
And it's called Pollo Loco.
Yeah.
And They had fried plantains. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And but literally, so that's the only fun like we had is like you walk to the beach and sit on the beach for about 2 hours, and you had to walk all the way back up to the hill. And don't mention it's 98 degrees with 100% humidity.
Yeah.
That close to the equator.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a culture shock for me. And of course, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking like, I need to be in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, it's time for me to go hunting, and I'm sitting here with no TV. I can't watch any kind of hunting shows. And the one thing I did have, I brought a bunch of DVDs, hunting DVDs, like Primos, y'all, obviously, and maybe like Jury and stuff like that. And that kind of got me through the thing. And but it was, and these huge tarantulas around. And of course, I'm being outdoorsman. I just walk around, and I saw a giant spider tarantula. I'd go up there and mess with it with picking up the stick, and all their security guards and the guys were like, put it down, and like whipping out their pistol about to shoot this spider. I'm like, oh, it's all right.
The spider's okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna kill you, okay? And but it was a very eye-opening experience. And another funny thing about it is like when we got there, you had 2 people to a room, and you had like a suite mate, so you shared a bathroom, and you had an on switch. You had an on switch for lights and an on switch for air conditioner.
Right.
And when we got there, you had on your bed, you had a pillow, you had a sheet, and you had a towel, and that was it.
Yeah.
And what we didn't realize is like as this is going on, like the air conditioner is going and running is perfect, 98 degrees, and night rolls around, and we're sitting there freezing to death. Because we had nothing but a sheet.
Yeah.
And so we go over there and flip the air conditioner off, but we didn't realize is when we flipped the air conditioner off, it flipped our other guy's air conditioner off too. So it controlled both rooms, and he had that same switch. So if he got hot, he would switch it back on. So we're sitting there playing, roulette with the air conditioner and freezing to death. So like 2 days later after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going on a mission, because like you get done to baseball at like 12 o'clock, and the rest of the time you're just sitting in the complex with no internet or nothing to do. and so after that we go and I go on a mission to find covers. Like I know there's covers here. I'm going to go find them.
Right.
And so, of course, you couldn't really communicate with the housing staff there, because you had a person come in there and clean your room once a day and come back. And so I go on a mission to find these covers, and I had a little knife with me, and I was walking around. I found a door that was locked, so I'm like, no one was behind this door. So I got my knife and I wiggled it in there and got it unlocked, and I opened it up, and there's a freaking mountain of covers. So I'm like, yes, I found the covers. So I went out and just distributed all the covers to all the American guys, and finally we get some nice sleep and stuff like that. And but another thing was like, there's no like hot water. It's just like you either catch it when it's in the morning when you try to take a shower, it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Or if it's been sitting in the sun all day, it's scalding hot.
Yeah.
So it's a big tank that sits on top of the roof. And it's black.
Yeah.
So that's how they get their hot water.
We went to I had like a mission trip I had to go on to the Dominican.
Yeah.
And I remember that because everyone like tried to get in the shower and they like cut it on. It's just like Arctic cold.
Yes.
It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And so it's either you got there early, or during the middle of the day after our baseball practice, you got there early and you got scalding hot water, or if you got there late after everybody else took a shower, you got freezing cold.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, obviously we're talking about people taking showers here, but it's kind of funny, like even now, like in the big leagues, you see all these Dominican guys, they go in there and take showers. They take cold showers.
They're just used to it.
They're used to it.
Yeah.
I was like, how are you taking such a cold shower? Like, he goes, it's not cold. It's not cold. It's warm. I was like, no, that's cold.
ain't nothing warm about that.
Yeah, it's freezing cold, bro.
Yeah.
And but it was an experience that I'll never forget. Obviously, we went out and helped a bunch of local little tribe. I guess they call it tribes, but I don't know. They're little local communities.
Right.
And we went out and did some work with them in the schools and stuff. And it was interesting to see, because like we went to these little schools and just to see how their lifestyles are in school, and you kind of see why they are like they are. Like they're really loud people. Like they're very I'm not saying obnoxious, but they're very loud.
Yeah.
And when you go to the schools and you realize how, because there's literally probably 100 kids in a little bitty schoolhouse that is divided by a little bitty thin wall, and you have to be loud to basically get your word across. And like you see why they do that, and you have a realization of kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
And obviously you look up on top of the roof, there's little tarantulas like sitting on top of the rafter. You're like, get me out of here. But it was a very good experience, and I'll never trade it for the world, but I did miss a lot of hunting.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot like, so we've got no internet, no TV.
Just got some hunting DVDs and make it through.
Hunters wrangling tarantulas, breaking into locked doors.
Yes.
I don't think you would make a very good travel agent for the Dominican.
Absolutely not.
If you
But, I know some people that would get me onto they call it what do they call it? It's the beaches that all the tourists go to. They call it like Gringo La Playa or Blanca La Playa, where this is like white people beach.
Yeah.
And they and
white people beach.
So they're like, we got people that know the white people beach over there, so it's like we go over there if we want to. But
yeah. Makes sense. So so someone who likes hunting as much as you do, that kind of has to keep it contained to these short off-season months like you do. Like, what do you like during this off-season? You just like when you start scheduling trips, do you like, all right, I'm hunting here, and here? Do you just kind of like go home and like spend most of your time around here in Mississippi hunting?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I try to go on a trip, usually one trip at least a year, and I usually go up to Illinois and do some hunting in Illinois around the middle of October, 1st of November.
Yeah.
And but for the most part, I think we're going on a trip to Wisconsin, up in Wisconsin with a few guys, and I think we're going to start doing a little bit more like group hunting as far as like with a team stuff.
Yeah.
We had a few guys that do a little hunting with the Padres, and I think we're going to start getting together a little bit more in the off season and hunt together, because we got a guy from Canada, we got a guy from North Dakota, Texas, so we got a little bit of everywhere we can possibly go hunt together and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But like as far as like just getting together, most of the time I just stay around the Mississippi area.
Yeah.
And, we had a good bit of land north, probably west of Jackson area, and we hunt a lot out there, and I really enjoy it. I mean, I think I enjoy getting ready to hunt more than I do actually hunting for the most part.
I know what you mean.
Getting on the tractor and kind of getting the food plots ready and stuff like that.
That's by far my favorite time of year.
I know.
Yeah. That's what we were doing all before elk season was tractor time, and then elk season. Now deer season is here, and we're starting what day is today? Thursday? Start next Monday?
Mm-hmm.
About to be that time.
Hopefully I can go once or twice this weekend, too.
Oh, are you?
I'd like to.
Slipping away.
Yeah.
Let's get good.
I'm going to keep asking Hunter subtle questions until he gives away the spot where he was hearing 30 turkeys in the morning.
Yeah, you need to get off this mic. We don't need it public knowledge.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, yeah. We can trade, man. We can figure out something. Is there ever I've been in California. I've been in California one time on a connecting flight.
Uh-huh.
Is there any hunting type opportunities there or no?
Well, yeah. So I didn't realize it was as much as, obviously, I guess it was 2015 or 16. I started looking into where to turkey hunt, possibly turkey hunt near San Diego, and there's really not an area in San Diego to turkey hunt and stuff like that. But up north towards San Francisco and stuff, we actually went to some vineyards up there in wine country during a little break we had, a day off, and we went there and had a little day off, and we were riding through the wine country and vineyards and stuff like that, and I happened to look out in the field, and I look out there, and there's these huge black bucks, black-tailed deer, and they're freaking monsters. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I did not expect to see this. We're riding through literally vineyards and pastures and stuff, and up the side of the mountain, I look up there, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. It looked like mule deer, but it was blacktail.
Blacktails, yeah.
And they were huge, and I was like, oh my gosh, I might need to schedule a trip up here sometime or another, And we actually went and saw some vineyard guys, and we were talking to them, and I happened to see a turkey feather on the ground, and I was asking him about the turkeys. Yeah. I asked him about turkeys, and he, of course, people in California are a little bit iffy about killing animals and stuff like that, so I asked him about hey, what about turkeys? Here he goes, oh, we got hundreds of them. I'm like, really? He's like, and he was like, yeah, we got a bunch of turkeys, and they come around and they roost right here above the tree, the house. I was like, okay, anything else? And
turkeys eat a lot of grapes.
Yeah. I was like, so do y'all people out there hunting? He goes, oh no, we don't kill them. We don't kill them. I was like, oh. Dang.
Well, I'm done talking to you.
Yeah, I was like, well, that ends that conversation.
Yeah, that's a bump. Well, see, I know I have no knowledge of California geography. How far are you from like Sacramento?
A long way.
Okay.
See, Sacramento is right there by San Fran, and so probably from San Diego to San Francisco, I may mess this up, but it's literally probably a 2.5 hour flight. 2 hour flight.
Yeah.
So it's probably 6 hours, 6 7 hours driving.
Yeah, because I know was it Chad Mendez and Jeremiah Dowdy are both from around there, and they make hay during turkey season.
Oh yeah.
And it must be different down there. I don't know.
Yeah. That's kind of where the vineyard stuff is too, near there. So I can definitely see there being a ton of turkeys there.
Yeah. I mean, like I've seen videos of like, and it's kind of like what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's been years ago, Primos made a trip out there well before I worked here. They were hunting in some kind of trees. There's like a tree or like a
apple orchard or
maybe something. I don't know, but like I remember watching the videos, and it didn't look like anything we see around here because it looked like a kind of like pecan trees in rows or something like that, and they're just like these wads of turkeys strutting and gobbling through there. It's like it's crazy looking, but
oh yeah,
way different from what we got here. So, like we talked about deer. What have we not talked about? Ducks. Ducks. Did you you probably get to duck hunt some, huh? Yeah, that probably you get all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when is I told you don't want to talk much about when you have to go back, I'm sure, but so do you get the duck? What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm just listening.
Oh, so
taking it in.
Do you get you probably get all the duck hunting in you want, huh?
Yeah, we usually leave around the middle to first start of February, so we'll leave around Valentine's Day of February. So we usually get every piece of hunting in possible as far as duck hunting, deer hunting, that kind of deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was talking to Kevin Smith. He was telling me I can kind of bounce this off of you or not. He said during the season, he has to think about baseball so much that he I don't know who he was talking to, but he said he's told hunting was like his outlet for him.
Oh, no doubt.
So he was because he said they were told don't focus on it, that find something else to talk about. So he was like, dude, when y'all are out there during September elk hunting, if you don't mind, send me some pictures.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, no problem. I'd blow you, because he said he's just something to take his mind off of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, that's the thing. Once you're engaged so often in something like that, and in baseball in particular, because I remember them saying my first 2 years of being in the minor leagues and stuff, and coming back into spring training, and we have these group discussions as far as the minor leaguers, and you have these people come in and talk to you and stuff, and psychiatrists and all this kind of stuff is big business, obviously.
Yeah,
but
right.
and they come there and talk to you, and they're like, if you're not absolutely mentally and physically exhausted after the season, then you did not do enough.
What?
Yeah, and I didn't understand it after my first 2 years, could be in the minor leagues and going through them. I was like, yeah, I'm physically exhausted, yes, but my mentally exhausted is not there.
Yeah.
And so after that, I got into maybe 2015, and I started struggling. I had a little struggle that year in the beginning of the season, and I just worked. I remember working and trying to get better and better and better. And at the end of that year, I kind of got I got back, and I went to AAA that year and did really well at the end of the season, and got home. And sat down. When I finally got home, I sat down. I was like, you know what? I'm mentally exhausted. I put everything into the season I possibly could. And even after that, I remember getting caught up in 2016, and we won the AAA championship that year, and then we went on to the big leagues and did really well. And got home, and you wouldn't think that after. I mean, we usually get done in the minor leagues in September 15 or 16, something like that.
Right.
And then we get done. No. 1st of September. We get done in 1st September. And then obviously the big leagues get done October 1, somewhere around October 1.
Right.
And after I got home after the 2016 season, I sat down. I'm like, I am just gassed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't but maybe 20 or so extra games from a regular season, but I was just physically gassed, done. And I remember going into the next season, 2017, I remember going into that work in December and January and into my workouts and stuff like that. I remember just working that much more harder, trying to get into better shape because I knew that playing 162 was real.
Yeah.
Like, that is real. Like, we play 130, 140 in minor leagues, and you play 162 in big leagues. And people don't realize, especially guys coming up through the minor league and stuff, how much more of a toll 162 is on your body and mentally. Because you're in the big leagues, it's so overwhelming because you're on such of a magnified place that everybody's watching you. You're on ESPN, you're on Fox Sports, and everything you do is magnified so intensely, especially when you're playing big teams like the Dodgers or the New York Yankees or Boston, and everybody's sitting there watching you, and you have to perform.
Yeah.
Like, like I was telling everybody, I tell everybody that you're just a chess piece.
Yeah.
And on this big chessboard, and they move you however you want to.
Right.
So like the front office, if they don't like the matchup, they don't play you here, or if they like the matchup, you play 6 in a row. You don't know, and it's a thing where. Let's see. How am I put it? It's big business. I mean, it is. It's a magnified service where everything is so blown out of proportion and just intensified that you can't even imagine that because of the amount of work you have to put in to be the best you possibly can. Like I know one of the guys that we got was Richards, and I know Mike Trout does a ton of hunting and stuff like that. And the amount of work he puts in, I'm sure is just astronomical. I can't even imagine because me being on a small market team like San Diego Padres, and then somebody being like Mike Trout, who just got like a $400 million contract,
right?
And the performance they expect out of him is so amplified and magnified that it's mentally like just. Like, people go into depressions.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine how much pressure you put on yourself.
Yeah, like it's like I mean I'm sure Kevin's talked about it a little bit, but like just the people I've seen people literally go like insane.
Yeah.
Over trying to hit something as minor as a baseball.
Yeah.
Like, people have gone into slumps for like years.
Yeah.
And people that don't come out of them get out of baseball.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, like, because I've had. It's been a privilege. I've been able to have people on this podcast from all different like walks of life, right?
Yes.
But you have like say like a career like yours.
Yeah.
Like, you got into that because I think you love the game of baseball. That was something you wanted to do, right? Well, then you had like Kevin was in a very similar boat.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy named Corey Cunningham. He plays for the New England Patriots now. I had, and then you have guys like Gary and Charlie from Muscadine Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are kind of like careers where you're chasing something that's a passion of yours.
Absolutely.
And there's like a similar thread that you find in there where even though it's something that you love, you're trying to make a living doing
Absolutely.
it. And you're put on a spectacle, and you have a lot of eyes watching you, so you end up getting all this pressure on you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Kevin telling me like they had someone on their team passed away.
Yep.
And they would tell like terrible, obviously. But they said like some of the guys that got messages from fans like, "Oh, the wrong angel died," and I'm like, "Dude, what?" Like, they would like say like it's like they almost forget that you're a human.
Yeah, me and my wife had to meet with the FBI this year. I mean, obviously other people had to meet with them too, but we had to meet with the FBI because the guy had Instagram messaged us like, I'm gonna cut your throat and rip your guts out and hope your family dies and all this stuff. Like, it's brutal, man. It's like what why?
Yeah.
Like, what makes you think about writing that to somebody? Like, it's just insane. And the guy I think he was from Tampa, and he had sent that to quite a few guys, and they're going to obviously prosecute him. So, but like it's like a thing. Like, dude, like, come on, man. Like, this is baseball. Yeah. Like, it's a minor thing, but obviously it's a huge deal to like a lot of people that do a lot of betting and stuff like that. But like, it's brutal. Like, you're put such on like you're supposed to be perfect, obviously. Yeah. You're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to get hit every time, and you're supposed to strike out everybody. But it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And but it's a deal where obviously God gave us these abilities, and it's just a thing where we have to we have to actually go out there and work for it. And like I was saying earlier about the mentally and physically exhausted part, like that's what takes them mentally out of it. And I didn't realize that at the time when I was, obviously 20, 21 years old. And now going into my 4th season and to the big leagues, and like I understand like the mental part of it now.
Yeah.
Like after all the stress put on you, all the eyes watching you, and all the work you put in the cage and on the field, and you wake up every morning, you're like, after the season, obviously, and you wake up every morning, you wake up and you stretch your arms out, and your arms pop, and your elbows pop, and you got a headache, and you're like, I feel good to be home, but my gosh, I'm ready to just sit here and do nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet sitting in a tree stand to go hunting takes on a whole new meaning. I bet you just get there and you're like,
yeah, you just take a deep breath and you sit there and there's no sounds, there's no fans screaming in your ear, there's no cars, honking by, and it's just you're just sitting there in God's creation, and you're like, you can take a deep breath and you can sit there and look at your phone and just think back on good things instead of all the bad stuff that keeps harping in your ear in baseball season.
Right.
So it's obviously a deep sigh of relief, and just sitting there and relaxing. And there's nothing more that I like to do, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't think of a better note to end it on than that.
Yeah.
And we've been going for close to 40 minutes now. So yeah, man, I appreciate the conversation. Appreciate the time. I enjoyed the conversation. Hopefully all of our listeners will. Guys, you can follow Hunter on Instagram.
Yep.
And then always, if you have any questions, feel free to send it into our Facebook or Instagram page. And that's going to be all for us today. Thank you for listening to the Speak the Language podcast.